How many times have you felt powerless, stuck, waiting for someone or something to give you permission to live the life you deserve? Let me tell you something. Your power was never gone. It's been inside you all along, waiting for one moment, one decision, one shift in your mindset to awaken it. Today, right here, right now, I want you to see that you have the ability to reclaim control, to break free from doubt, fear, and limitation, and to create the life you've always imagined. Your power is waiting. Will you take it back? Have you ever stopped and asked yourself a simple question? Where have I given my power away? Think about it for a moment. I'm not talking about the small things, the daily inconveniences, the minor frustrations. I'm talking about the places in your life where you've handed over control willingly or unconsciously to someone else, to circumstances, or even to your own past. It's astonishing how often we do this without even realizing it. We wait for someone else to make us feel safe, to make us feel worthy, to tell us we're capable. And in that waiting, in that surrender, we give up the one thing no one else can take from us, our power. So let's start there. Let's get brutally honest with ourselves. When you wake up in the morning, whose rules are you living by? Whose expectations are guiding your decisions? How often are you making choices because someone else told you that's what you should do, instead of listening to the quiet, unwavering voice inside of you? And here's the hard truth. Every time you choose someone else's agenda over your own, you shrink a little bit. Every time you let your circumstances dictate your actions, you teach yourself that you are powerless. But the good news, awareness is the first step. And once you see it, you can reclaim it. Look, life is going to throw challenges at you. People are going to disappoint you. Systems, institutions, even the economy might seem stacked against you. And in those moments, it's so easy to say, it's not my fault. I had no choice. And that's where so many people live, in the story of their victimhood. But here's what I want you to hear. When you frame your life as a reaction to what happens to you, you have already given your power away. When you wait for permission to act, or for conditions to be perfect, or for someone to validate your worth, you are giving away the most valuable currency you possess. Your ability to choose, your ability to act, your ability to shape your own destiny. Now, I'm not saying this is easy. This isn't some pep talk that magically makes your fears disappear. No, it's uncomfortable and it requires brutal honesty with yourself. You have to look at your life and admit the places where you've settled. Admit the relationships where you've compromised yourself. Admit the work situations where you've stayed small because it felt safer. Admit the moments when you stayed silent because speaking up was risky. Admit the times you've told yourself, I can't, or I'm not ready, or maybe later. These admissions sting because they touch the truth we often hide from. But here's the paradox. Those very admissions are what set you free, because when you shine a light on where you've given your power away, you suddenly see the path to taking it back. Take a moment and think about the stories you tell yourself. How often do they sound like excuses? How often do they subtly remove your responsibility? You might say, I can't pursue my dreams because I have too many obligations, or I don't have the resources, or it's not the right time. And here's the thing, on the surface, these sound reasonable. They sound like logic. But dig a little deeper and you realize they're just ways of hiding from the uncomfortable truth that stepping into your full power is scary. It requires risk. It requires vulnerability. It requires facing the very fears that have been keeping you small. And that's why most people never do it. Most people never reclaim their power because they are more afraid of discomfort than they are motivated by possibility. They wait for someone else to hand it to them. But let me tell you something. Power is never given. It's claimed. And it starts with looking squarely at the truth of your life and saying, I am responsible for this, and I refuse to be powerless any longer. You see, when you start recognizing where you've given your power away, something remarkable happens. You begin to see the patterns. You notice the repeated behaviors, the habitual thoughts, the choices that don't serve you. You see the relationships where you compromise your voice, the environments where you play small to avoid conflict, the endless loop of waiting for external validation. And the moment you notice these patterns, you are no longer trapped by them. Awareness is not just the first step, it is the gateway to transformation. Let me give you an example. Imagine a situation at work where someone consistently undermines your ideas. It's easy to feel powerless, right? You might think, I'll just keep my head down. I'll stay out of trouble. And so you give your power away. But what if you shifted your perspective and took ownership? What if you decided, I am going to respond. I am going to speak my truth. I am going to influence in my way. Suddenly, the power dynamic changes. You haven't changed the other person, but you have changed yourself. You've reclaimed your authority. You've taken your power back. It's the same in every area of life, relationships, finances, health, personal growth. The moment you stop surrendering your power to others, The moment you stop waiting for circumstances to dictate your mood or your decisions, you begin to operate from a place of choice. And choice is power. Choice is freedom. Choice is the first ripple in the wave of transformation that can change everything. And here's the most liberating part. No one else needs to validate this. You don't need approval. You don't need someone to nod and say, yes, now you can. You already have it. Your power has never left you. It's been there the whole time, waiting for you to notice it, waiting for you to step into it, waiting for you to reclaim it. But you have to take responsibility. You have to own it. You have to decide in this moment that you are done giving it away. So ask yourself again, where have I given my power away? Be specific, be honest. And then just for a moment, imagine what life would feel like if you claimed it all back. Imagine no longer feeling small in your relationships. Imagine no longer allowing your circumstances to dictate your mood or your decisions. Imagine acting with clarity and authority in every area of your life. That's not a fantasy. That's your potential. That's the life that's waiting for you the moment you stop surrendering and start stepping up. Because here's the truth. The world can only take from you what you allow it to take. And the moment you decide no more, the moment you recognize that your power was never theirs to begin with, everything changes. The fear that kept you small starts to shrink. The uncertainty that paralyzed you begins to fade. And in its place rises clarity, strength, and unstoppable momentum. Your power was never lost. You just forgot it for a moment. Now it's time to take it back. Let's talk about beliefs. Not the ones you tell other people, but the ones you carry deep inside yourself, the ones that whisper to you when no one else is listening. These beliefs are the invisible forces shaping your life, guiding your decisions, defining what you think is possible and what you think is not. And here's the reality. Most people are living their lives based on beliefs that don't serve them. They are living inside invisible prisons built by fear, doubt, and old stories they've been told. And the irony is they don't even realize it. They think their limitations are real when in fact they are simply inherited, learned, or chosen beliefs. The first step to taking your power back is to recognize that your beliefs are not facts. They are choices you've made, consciously or unconsciously, about what the world is and what you are capable of. And here's the exciting part. If you can change your beliefs, you can change everything. It starts with noticing the stories you tell yourself. When you wake up in the morning, what do you tell yourself about your day, about your potential, about your worth? Most people are repeating messages from the past that are not theirs to keep. Messages like, I'm not good enough, I don't deserve success, things never work out for me. And these messages shape every action, every decision, every outcome in your life. You see, the mind is obedient. If you feed it a thought enough times, it becomes a truth in your experience, even if it's a lie. And then you wonder why life feels hard, why opportunities pass you by, why success seems to belong to someone else. It's not magic, it's belief in action. So what does it mean to shift your beliefs? It doesn't mean pretending or lying to yourself. It doesn't mean repeating empty affirmations that feel hollow. It means digging deep and challenging the foundations of what you've been taught, what you've been told, what you've unconsciously accepted. Ask yourself the hard questions. Is this belief mine or did I CK it up from someone else? Is this belief helping me create the life I want or is it holding me back? What would happen if I no longer believe this? These are not questions you answer once and move on. They are questions you answer every day until they become habits of mind, until your inner dialogue begins to work for you instead of against you. Here's an important truth. The moment you take control of your beliefs, you take control of your results. Most people think change starts with external circumstances, new job, new partner, new location. But real change, the kind that transforms everything, starts inside. It starts with deciding, I am capable, I am worthy, I am powerful. And the beauty is, when you operate from these beliefs, the world responds differently. Doors open, opportunities appear. People notice a difference in your energy, in your confidence, in your presence. The universe doesn't care about excuses. It only responds to action fueled by belief. Belief is not just a passive thought, it is active, it is alive, and it demands demonstration. If you truly believe you can achieve something, your mind, your body, and your energy align to make it happen. And if you don't, you'll find 1,000 ways to sabotage yourself, to justify why it didn't work, to blame everything outside yourself. That's why this is so critical. Shifting your beliefs is not optional if you want to reclaim your power. It is the foundation of everything else. Now, let's talk about practical application because it's not enough to think about belief. You must live it. You must feel it. One way to do this is through the stories you tell yourself about challenges. Most people see obstacles and immediately believe they are insurmountable. They see setbacks, immediately believe they are failures. But beliefs can be changed. Every time you encounter a challenge, you have a choice. Why? All can see it as proof that you're incapable, or you can see it as feedback, as a signal, as a stepping stone. The belief you choose determines the outcome. If you train yourself to see every challenge as an opportunity to grow, to learn, to prove yourself, your life transforms. The same circumstances produce completely different results, simply because your belief system has shifted. Another critical aspect of belief is the language you use with yourself. Notice the words you speak when no one else is listening. Do you say, I can't, I'll never, it's impossible? Or do you say, I choose, I will find a way, this is possible for me? Words are not just words, they are the mechanics of belief. They shape your perception, your emotions, and ultimately your actions. Start consciously changing your language. Replace limiting statements with empowering ones. Not once in a while, but consistently until it becomes second nature. Belief also requires courage. There is a natural resistance to change because your old beliefs feel familiar, safe, and predictable, even when they are holding you back. To shift your beliefs, you must be willing to step into discomfort, to question everything you've held as true, to face the fear of the unknown. This is where transformation happens. If you stay in comfort, you will stay in limitation. If you step into discomfort, you step into possibility. Every breakthrough in history, every success story began with someone willing to believe differently than they had before, and you are capable of the same. Here's the final crucial piece. Beliefs are reinforced through action. Thinking alone is not enough. You can tell yourself you are powerful, you can imagine your future, you can visualize success, but if you don't act, the belief remains abstract. Action validates belief. When you take consistent, intentional steps toward your goals, you create evidence that your new beliefs are real. And with that evidence, your confidence grows, your momentum increases, and your life begins to reflect the possibilities you once only imagined. So start today. Identify the beliefs that are limiting you. Challenge them. Replace them with empowering alternatives. Speak them. Act on them. Live them. Surround yourself with people, environments, and experiences that reinforce the beliefs you want to cultivate. Because the moment you truly believe in yourself, nothing can stop you. Your power, your potential, and your life are no longer determined by circumstances. They are determined by the choices you make, the beliefs you hold, and the actions you take every single day. Change your beliefs and you change your world. Now, let's talk about responsibility. And I don't mean responsibility in the sense of chores, bills, or obligations. I mean responsibility for your life, for your choices, for the outcomes you're experiencing right now. Because here's the hard truth. Most people spend their entire lives reacting instead of responding. They blame circumstances, they blame people, they blame luck, the economy, the system, anything and everything except themselves. And in doing so, they give away their power little by little, day after day. They wait for someone else to fix things, to approve their decisions, to hand them the life they want. But here's the secret. The moment you decide to take full responsibility for your life, the moment you stop reacting and start responding, everything changes. Everything shifts because responsibility is not a burden. It's the ultimate source of freedom. Think about it. When you blame others, what are you doing? You're giving them power over you. You're allowing them to dictate your emotions, your energy, your sense of possibility. The more you blame, the smaller you become. Every excuse you tell yourself is a chain that holds you back, a story that keeps you trapped in someone else's version of reality. But when you choose responsibility, you break those chains. When you own your life, even the parts that are messy, even the parts that are uncomfortable, you reclaim control. You step out of the role of victim and into the role of creator. And there's nothing more powerful than that. Now, I know what you might be thinking, but I didn't ask for this. I didn't deserve this. How is this fair? And you know what? You're right. Life isn't fair, but fairness has nothing to do with power. Power has everything to do with ownership. You see, you can sit around waiting for fairness, hoping someone will make things right, wishing the world would bend to your preferences, or you can stand up, take responsibility, and create the life you want despite the unfairness. And the truth is, the people who win in life aren't the ones who wait for things to be fair. They're the ones who take full responsibility and act anyway. They don't wait for permission. They don't wait for ideal conditions. They move, they create, they respond with courage, and they build their own path. Responsibility starts with self-awareness. You have to look at your life and ask yourself, Where am I reacting instead of responding? Where am I blaming instead of owning? Where am I waiting for someone else to make me feel empowered, valued, or capable? And be honest, because these questions are uncomfortable. They make you face the parts of yourself you've been avoiding. But here's the thing. The moment you face them, you open the door to real transformation. The moment you see your patterns, your excuses, your habits of avoidance, you gain the power to change them. And let's be clear, taking responsibility doesn't mean you take the blame for everything that happens. Life is unpredictable. People act in ways you can't control. Situations arise that are beyond your influence. But responsibility doesn't mean taking the blame. It means taking control over your response. It means saying, I may not be able to control what happens to me, but I can control how I respond. I can control my choices, my actions, my mindset, my energy. And when you operate from that place, you stop being a passenger in your own life and start being the driver. Here's another powerful truth. Responsibility fuels growth. Because when you stop blaming and start owning, you stop waiting and start doing. You stop complaining and start creating. You stop wishing and start acting. And every action you take, every step you make toward your goals reinforces your power. You begin to see results that were impossible when you were living in blame. You begin to feel confident, capable, unstoppable, because you know that your life is in your hands and your hands are powerful. But this isn't just about success or achievement. Responsibility is also about integrity, about alignment, about living a life where your actions match your values. Think about the areas of your life where you've been reactive, where you've made choices out of fear or convenience or avoidance. How does that feel inside? Heavy, right? Misaligned, like a small sinking weight on your chest. That's the energy of disempowerment. But when you take responsibility, when you act in alignment with your values, when you face your fears instead of avoiding them, that weight lifts. You feel lighter, you feel stronger, you feel alive. And here's the magic part. When you take responsibility, you inspire others. People are drawn to those who own their lives, who act with integrity, who refuse to be victims of circumstance. Your energy shifts, your confidence grows, your presence changes, and suddenly opportunities that were invisible before become clear. Doors that were closed begin to open. Relationships improve. Trust deepens. People notice a difference in you, not because you demand it, but because responsibility radiates power, and power attracts possibility. Now, let's talk about the practical application, because this isn't just theory. Responsibility is a daily practice. It's in the choices you make every morning, every hour, every minute. It's in how you respond to challenges at work. It's in how you communicate with your family. It's in how you handle setbacks, failures, and disappointments. Every moment is an opportunity to choose responsibility over reaction. Every time you choose to act instead of complain, to own instead of blame, to create instead of wait, you strengthen your power. And over time, these small choices compound into unstoppable momentum. And here's the final piece. Responsibility requires courage. It's easier to blame, to complain, to wait for someone else. It's harder to own your life, to face uncomfortable truths, to act boldly despite fear. But courage is the currency of power. Every act of responsibility, no matter how small, is an act of courage. Every time you choose to stand up, speak out, or take action when it would be easier to stay silent, you reinforce the truth that you are the master of your life. You are the one in control. And the more you practice this, the more natural it becomes, until taking responsibility is no longer a choice. It's your default state, your identity, your power. So start today. Start by examining one area of your life where you've been reactive, where you've been blaming, waiting, or avoiding. Take ownership of it. Decide how you will respond differently, how you will act with courage and clarity, and then do it. No hesitation, no excuses. Action is the proof of responsibility, and responsibility is the foundation of power. The moment you take full responsibility for your life, the moment you stop reacting and start responding, everything changes. Let's talk about action, because here's the thing. Power without action is just potential. You can have clarity, belief, responsibility, and awareness, but if you don't move, if you don't take steps, nothing changes. Action is where the magic happens. It's the bridge between who you are now and who you are capable of becoming. And yet so many people get stuck in thinking. They plan endlessly, they visualize endlessly, they talk endlessly about what they want to do, but they never actually do it. And that's where their power quietly slips away. The moment you act, even imperfectly, you reclaim it. The moment you move toward your goals, the universe begins to respond. Action transforms intention into reality. I want you to understand something crucial. Waiting for the perfect moment is a trap. Waiting for the conditions to be ideal. Waiting for confidence to arrive. Waiting for resources. Waiting for permission. It's all waiting for someone else to hand you your life. And while you wait, life keeps moving. Opportunities pass by, moments fade, and regret quietly grows. The most successful people are not the ones who waited. They are the ones who acted. They are the ones who stepped forward, even when fear whispered, "You're not ready." They are the ones who chose to start before everything felt perfect. Because the truth is, perfection is a mirage. Action, persistence, and courage create the perfection you seek. Action is not about giant leaps every time. It's about consistent, purposeful steps. It's about building momentum. Most people underestimate the power of small actions taken consistently. Every step, every decision, every effort compounds into results that are exponential. Think about a snowball rolling down a hill. At first, it's small, barely noticeable. But with every rotation, every turn, it gathers size and speed until it becomes unstoppable. That's what consistent action does in your life. It builds momentum, it fuels confidence, it reinforces belief, and it turns possibility into reality. Now, let's talk about fear, because fear is the greatest obstacle to action. Fear convinces you to wait, to hesitate, to question, to retreat. It whispers, what if you fail? What if you look foolish? What if you make the wrong choice? And here's the truth, you will face those moments. You will encounter failure, embarrassment, mistakes, and setbacks. But inaction guarantees failure more than any risk ever will. Action, even imperfect action, is always the path forward. Every time you confront fear with action, every time you move forward despite doubt, you strengthen your power. You prove to yourself that you are capable. You prove that you are not a victim of circumstance. And with each step, your confidence grows, your courage expands, and your life begins to reflect the possibility that once felt distant and unattainable. Action also requires clarity. You can't take effective action if you don't know where you're going. That's why earlier we talked about beliefs and responsibility. When your beliefs are empowering and when you take ownership of your life, action becomes intentional. It's not random. It's not reactionary. It's deliberate, focused, and purposeful. Every action becomes a building block toward the life you desire. And when you act with clarity, you act with power. You move with direction, energy, and authority. The world responds differently when you operate from that space. Opportunities appear, connections form, solutions emerge, and momentum grows. But here's the key. Action is not just about doing what feels comfortable. It's about doing what matters. It's about taking the steps that align with your vision, your goals, and your values. It's about prioritizing what truly moves the needle in your life and having the discipline to commit to those steps consistently. Most people waste energy on distractions, busy work, and tasks that feel urgent but aren't important. Action without focus is like running in circles. It burns energy but leads nowhere. Purposeful action, aligned with clarity and intention, produces results that compound and transform your life. Action is also about courage and risk. Every meaningful step forward involves risk. You risk failure. You risk criticism. You risk uncertainty. And that's why so few people take the steps they need to take. But here's the paradox. The greater the risk, the greater the reward. Fear is not the enemy. It's a signal that you are moving beyond your comfort zone, that you are stepping into growth, that you are claiming your power. When you act despite fear, when you lean into discomfort, you transform challenges into opportunities and obstacles into stepping stones. And let's not forget the importance of adaptability in action. Life is unpredictable. Plans change, circumstances shift, challenges arise. Those who take action without adaptability often get discouraged or give up. But true action is flexible, responsive, and resilient. It is not rigid. It does not rely on perfect conditions. It adjusts, pivots, and keeps moving forward no matter what. The person who acts with adaptability always finds a way. They turn setbacks into lessons. They turn obstacles into strategies. They turn failure into feedback. And that is how momentum is built, how power is reinforced, and how transformation occurs. Action also fuels belief. Remember when we talked about shifting your beliefs? Belief without evidence remains abstract. Action creates evidence. Every time you take a step, no matter how small, you reinforce truth that you are capable. Action proves to your mind, body, and spirit that your goals are achievable, that your potential is real, and that your power is present. And as this cycle continues, action fuels confidence, confidence fuels belief, and belief fuels further action. It's a compounding effect that accelerates your growth and expands your possibilities exponentially. Finally, action is contagious. When you act with purpose, courage, and consistency, you inspire others. People are drawn to those who do, who move, who create despite challenges. Your energy changes the environment around you. It attracts opportunities, connections, and support. The ripple effect of action is extraordinary. One decision to act can set off a chain reaction that transforms not just your life, but the lives of those around you. And that is the essence of power in motion, influence, momentum, and unstoppable growth. So start today. Take one deliberate step toward what matters most. Don't wait for the perfect conditions. Don't wait for confidence or clarity to arrive magically. Decide, move, act. Each step you take, no matter how small, builds momentum, reinforces belief, strengthens courage, and brings you closer to the life you desire. Because action is where your power lives. The moment you act, everything changes. Now let's talk about challenges, because challenges are not the enemy, they are the gateway. Most people see obstacles as walls, as reasons to stop, as proof that they can't move forward. But I want you to hear this clearly. Every obstacle you face is not a stop sign. It's a signal that you are on the path, that you are growing, that you are stretching beyond the comfort of the familiar. The moment you shift your perspective and begin to see challenges as opportunities, everything changes. You no longer feel like life is happening to you. You begin to realize that life is happening for you, that every difficulty is a chance to rise, to expand, to prove to yourself that you are capable of more than you ever imagined. Think about the times in your life when you faced something that seemed impossible. Maybe it was a loss, a betrayal, a failure, or a setback that left you questioning everything. Most people freeze in those moments. They ask, why me? Why now? And they stay stuck in the discomfort. But those who reclaim their power ask a different question. What is this teaching me? How can I use this to grow? How can I turn this into advantage? The difference is not circumstance, it's mindset. The difference is whether you see life through the lens of limitation or through the lens of possibility. And when you choose possibility, even the largest obstacles shrink into manageable, actionable steps. Mountains turn into molehills because your perception has shifted, because your mind refuses to be defeated. Challenges also reveal your strength. Every obstacle you encounter is an opportunity to test yourself, to discover what you're made of. When you confront difficulty head on, when you refuse to shrink, when you move through discomfort with courage and persistence, you reveal a version of yourself that you might not have known existed. Strength is not something you find in comfort. It is forged in adversity. And the more you embrace challenges as opportunities, the more resilient, capable, and powerful you become. You begin to understand that life does not happen to you. It happens in you, through you, and because of you. Perspective is everything. Most people react to challenges with frustration, fear, or anger. They focus on what is wrong, on what they lack, on the unfairness of the situation. But perspective is the key to transforming challenges into fuel. Imagine two people facing the same setback. One sees it as FAI, lure, the other as feedback. One freezes, the other adapts. One complains, the other strategizes. The external circumstances are identical, but the outcomes are completely different. That is the power of perspective. That is why the same challenge can break one person and elevate another. Your perception determines your reality. Opportunities hide inside challenges. They are often disguised as difficulties, waiting for you to uncover them. When a problem arises, instead of resisting it, embrace it. Ask, what is the hidden opportunity here? How can I leverage this situation? What lesson can I take that will make me stronger, wiser, or more capable? When you adopt this mindset, obstacles no longer feel like setbacks. They feel like stepping stones, each one moving you closer to mastery, to achievement, to personal transformation. Challenges become your allies instead of your enemies. And let's be honest, this is not easy. It's uncomfortable. It's messy. Life doesn't hand you a manual for turning problems into progress. But that's why the people who thrive are different from the people who merely survive. Thrivers see every difficulty as a teacher. They don't ask, why me? They ask, what now? What next? How can I rise? And that simple shift in mindset repeated over time compounds into extraordinary results. What once seemed impossible becomes inevitable because you refuse to be defeated by circumstance, because you have learned to see the opportunities hidden in adversity. Every challenge also teaches adaptability. Life will never go exactly as planned. People will act in ways you don't expect. Situations will change. Plans will fail. But those who master the mindset of opportunity don't crumble under pressure. They pivot, they adjust, they innovate. They see setbacks not as the end, but as an invitation to approach the problem differently, to think creatively, and to act decisively. Challenges refine your skills, sharpen your thinking, and expand your capacity to handle more. The more challenges you embrace, the stronger and more capable you become. And here's a powerful truth. Resilience is built one challenge at a time. You don't wake up one day suddenly unshakable. You become unshakable by facing life, by refusing to back down, by taking every obstacle as a chance to learn, adapt, and rise. Each challenge survived, each difficulty overcome strengthens your mind, fortifies your spirit, and deepens your belief in your own power. And that belief is what fuels action, sustains courage, and drives momentum. Challenges also clarify what truly matters. When life pushes back, when problems arise, when obstacles appear, the noise falls away and what remains is what is real. Your priorities become clear. Your values become obvious. And that clarity gives you direction, energy, and purpose. Every challenge carries a hidden lesson in what is essential, what is meaningful, and what is worth. Your time, your energy, and your effort. When you embrace that, challenges stop being distractions. They become guides. Let's talk about mistakes are just part of challenges. Most people fear mistakes, avoid them, or let them define their worth. But mistakes are not evidence of failure. They are evidence of effort. Every mistake is feedback. Every misstep is a lesson waiting to be learned. When you stop fearing mistakes and start using them as information, you shift from a mindset of limitation to a mindset of growth. Mistakes no longer hold you back. They propel you forward. They are opportunities disguised as misfortune. And the moment you embrace them, everything changes. And finally, challenges teach empowerment. The moment you see a challenge, not as a threat, but as an opportunity, you step into your power. You stop waiting for someone else to solve your problems. You stop hoping for luck or external approval. You take control, you act, you adapt, you rise. And that is the essence of the mindset that changes everything, seeing obstacles as opportunities, setbacks as feedback, failures as lessons, and difficulties as the very training ground for your success. When you operate from this perspective, life no longer happens to you, it happens through you. And in that moment, you are unstoppable. Every challenge is an invitation to greatness. Every setback is a setup for growth, and every difficulty is a doorway to your next level. Now, let's talk about purpose and passion, because this is where everything comes together. You see, power, belief, responsibility, action, and perspective are all essential, but without purpose, they can feel hollow. You can have all the tools in the world, all the strategies, all the energy, and all the momentum, but if you don't know why you're doing it, if you don't have a reason that lights a fire in your heart, it will never sustain you. Purpose is what fuels every decision, every step, every sacrifice, every moment of effort. Passion is the energy that makes action irresistible, the force that drives you to keep going when the world pushes back, the spark that turns a goal into a mission. When you align your power with your purpose, you unlock a force that is unstoppable, undeniable, and transformative. Purpose starts with clarity about what truly matters to you. Too often, people chase goals that aren't theirs, living lives that don't feel meaningful, following paths defined by others. They measure success by someone else's standards, money, recognition, approval, without asking, what do I value? What do I want my life to stand for? What impact do I want to leave? And that's why so many people feel exhausted, unfulfilled, and restless even when they achieve. Things. They're disconnected from the very reason that makes achievement meaningful. Purpose is the compass that ensures your energy, your action, and your power are all directed towards something that resonates with your deepest self. Passion, on the other hand, is what gives life its intensity. It's what keeps you moving when obstacles appear, when setbacks occur, when fear whispers that you should stop. Passion turns work into play, effort into joy, and struggle into growth. When you are aligned with your purpose, passion isn't optional. It's automatic. You feel it in your chest. You feel it in your energy. You feel it in the way time disappears when you are fully engaged in the pursuit of something that matters. And that feeling, that fire, is what makes you unstoppable. It's what fuels resilience, persistence, and courage. But purpose and passion are not static. They grow as you grow. They evolve as you evolve. That's why reflection is essential. Take the time to examine your life, to ask yourself hard questions. Am I living intentionally? Am I dedicating my energy to what matters most? Am I ignoring my true potential in favor of comfort or fear? These questions are uncomfortable because they demand honesty, but honesty is the foundation of empowerment. The moment you see where you've been disconnected from your purpose, you have the opportunity to realign, to redirect, to reclaim your energy, your focus, and your life. Purpose also creates focus. When you have a clear reason why you are pursuing something, decisions become simpler. Distractions fade and priorities become obvious. You know what is worth your time and what is not. You know which battles to fight and which ones to let go. Purpose is a lens through which every choice is filtered, ensuring that your actions are not random, but intentional, deliberate, and meaningful. And when your actions are aligned with purpose, Momentum builds effortlessly because you are no longer dragging yourself through effort that doesn't matter. You are moving towards something that sets your soul on fire. Purpose and passion also generate resilience. Life will always test you. Challenges will arise. Fear will show up. Doubt will whisper. But when you are fueled by purpose and passion, these obstacles lose their power over you. They become temporary, external forces that you can navigate rather than internal chains that hold you back. Purpose reminds you why you started. Passion reminds you why it matters. Together, they provide the emotional fuel to keep moving, to keep fighting, to keep creating, even when the world pushes against you. And let's not forget the impact. When you live with purpose and passion, your life affects everyone around you. People feel your energy. They are inspired by your drive. They are drawn to your vision. Your actions ripple outward, touching lives, creating influence, and amplifying impact. The power you reclaim is not just for yourself. It radiates, it motivates, it elevates, it creates opportunities for others to rise as well. Living with purpose transforms not only your own life, but the world around you, because energy aligned with meaning is magnetic and unstoppable. Purpose also requires courage. It's easy to settle, to live in comfort, to follow the path of least resistance, but purpose often demands risk, sacrifice, and persistence in the face of uncertainty. Following your purpose can be uncomfortable because it pushes you beyond your current limits. It requires commitment to values that may not always align with external expectations. It asks you to stand for something, to act boldly, and to invest your energy in a vision that may not be immediately rewarded. But that is the price of living fully. That is the path to mastery, fulfillment, and true empowerment. And here's the beautiful part. Purpose and passion are amplifiers. They amplify every other aspect of your life. Belief becomes stronger when it is tied to purpose. Action becomes more compelling when it is fueled by passion. Responsibility feels empowering when it serves a meaningful mission. Challenges become opportunities when they push you closer to your goals. Everything you've learned, every habit you've developed, every skill you've honed reaches new heights when your power is aligned with something bigger than yourself. So how do you cultivate purpose and passion? Start by asking yourself what excites you, what energizes you, what leaves you feeling alive. Notice the activities, the ideas, the projects, and the relationships that make time disappear. Notice the moments when you feel completely present, fully engaged, fully yourself. These are the signals. These are the breadcrumbs pointing you toward what truly matters. Then make the deliberate choice to prioritize them. Commit to them. Invest your energy, your time, your resources, and your courage into them. And then take consistent, focused action every day to live in alignment with them. Purpose and passion are not distant, abstract ideals. They are here now in your hands. They are in the choices you make, the actions you take, the energy you bring, and the intention you set. They are in the way you respond to challenges, in the way you cultivate resilience, in the way you invest in yourself and the people around you. They are the heartbeat of empowerment. They are the fuel for taking your power back, for creating momentum, for living a life that is unstoppable, meaningful, and extraordinary. Your life is waiting. Your potential is waiting. Your power is waiting. Align it with your purpose. Ignite it with passion. And there is nothing you cannot achieve.